Good morning, everybody. What's up out there in the wide world? Morning, Jonathan, Paul, Chris. Happy Thursday to everybody. We have a little fun overnight, it looks like. A little dip. If this is anything like the last 20 dips, should get bought up and we'll reach a new all-time high, right? We're right at the low from yesterday. Be interesting to see if this holds or not. It will definitely be a big factor in determining the bias for today. All right, well, I think I'm just looking at this trend. I think it's probably best to consider this played out already instead of trusting in a wider trend, because this certainly fits better. Oh, hold on. Looks like I got the chart cut off. No wonder it wasn't moving. Good morning, Tom. Yeah, I mean, we could look for a lower high if you're playing that wider channel. The lower high here is what you're going to want. Personally, I think I'm going to wait for the open and see what happens there. And all of this came in off of the PPI number, which month after month was a lot higher than what was forecasted. So perhaps the drop is the market saying that makes a rate cut less likely. We may be back in that territory where good news is bad news and bad news is good news, because a weakening economy means more chance of a rate cut. So that could be where that's coming from. Unemployment claims was also a little bit down than what was forecasted. So some strong economic numbers and the market's down. We do have a few more numbers tomorrow. We got retail sales and consumer sentiment, inflation expectations. Nathan. Hi, brother. What's up? Good morning, Bill. Good morning, Archer. Isaac saying SPY update, please. That's what I'm doing, man. This is SPY here. It's ES, but it's the same thing. This is our first line in the sand. Yesterday's low. If we stay below this, the day is going to be bearish. If we get above, we have more chance of a bullish trend. So we're going to be watching that as the market opens, which is happening here very soon. Good morning, Yas. All right, market open in about 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. We are open. We'll see what happens. All right, ES is right on yesterday's low. Again, like I said, this is the line in the sand here. I might consider a lower high if this forms, going with a larger downtrend. But we're back above the EMA there, so forget about that one. This uptrend is played out, so we would expect to move to the downside. Over on NQ, I'm still treating this as one trend. I think it looks good that way. Uptrend also played out. So we'd be looking for a lower high or a double lower high. ES back down below the EMA. Got one lower high, looking for that second one. All right, this is a little bit more aggressive, but if this bar closes here, I'm going to take that short. Nope, did not close bearish. Looking for one more. This bar turns around, turns into a bearish bar, I'm going to take it. Which again, would be more aggressive, but I like it. Okay, here we go. Just don't want the bar to go too far down yet. Wants to stay right here. Pushed up at the end there. We got a lot of wicks right here. It'll probably work, but I'm gonna be a little patient this morning. ME saying, why is the chart not showing the instrument, ticker, symbol, and the time frame you are on? But it is. But it is. Just take a little look-see-loo up at the top of the chart, my friend. Right up there. All right. NQ popped above yesterday's low. This holds up here. No real chance that it's going to be a bearish day. Looks like we kind of have an uptrend. Possible overshoot on that. If ES keeps going up, we'll have to start looking for some sort of wider trend. It's a little bit early for that, in my opinion. We shall see. Because of that possibility, if we come back and form just a beautiful second entry long, I will take it. All right. Yeah, I am liking the possibility of this wider trend here. ME says, oh really? I'm just seeing the bar with chart ES 925 2000 tick. Yes, that is the symbol. That is the time frame. The symbol is ES 925. That would be the date of expiry on that futures contract. And the time frame's not a time frame because it's not a time-based chart. It is a tick chart, and it is a 2000 tick chart. So that is your symbol and your time frame. So basically, S&P futures on the 2000 tick chart is what you're looking at, and Nasdaq futures on the 1500 tick chart. I like these uptrends on both. They're so far seeming to be pretty legit. All right, here we got the pullback. We're back at the moving average. ME, no problem. Glad you're tracking now. We're watching the moving average closely here and this key level to see if they hold. If they do, we'll be looking for a long. Looks like we're getting that move to a new high off that first bounce there. All right, we got another pullback. We're at the moving average. This bar turns bullish, I may consider it, as we have had pullback one attempt higher, and this is our second pullback, so this would be a second entry if it forms. However, the Nasdaq still looks like it has more pulling back to do to get to the EMA, so I'm kind of expecting Nasdaq to drop down a little bit more, which would in turn carry the S&P chart. No, it's starting to pop. Here we got a decent bar. I think I'll take it. See if we can get to that new high. It's a little congested here. That is one cause for concern. I may just trail my stop pretty tight here. Yeah, I'm gonna trail, lock in profits. Boom, got out. So there we go. Pretty straightforward, pretty textbook. Hopefully you guys are following that one. I mean, not following as in taking the trade, but following the logic, right? Now, if anyone's just copy trading, you're not going to make it very far in this trading business, so don't do that. But following along in terms of seeing the setups for yourself, definitely do that. Now this one was pretty straightforward. We got an uptrend. We're looking for a second entry long. We had a pullback, one attempt higher, second pullback, and then a nice signal bar. Closing near its high, going through the EMA, but closing above. That's exactly how it's supposed to look there. Bill took it. Nice. Good work, Bill. No fill for Archer. Bummer. Now this uptrend is looking quite good. Continues to hold. Like the trend on NQ as well. We're getting closer and closer to that overnight high. I just read, guys, this is pretty wild, that the odds for a rate cut in September are now at 100%. That's some wild confidence by the market. So just know that all this price action is based on a rate cut. If for some reason there's a surprise at the next FOMC, like, you will see a massive market drop. If for whatever reason they don't cut rates, that would be insane. Right, here we go, continuing higher. And now this uptrend looks really good. So on this next pullback, on both markets, we'll be looking at a second entry long. Try to get another trade. Again, just waiting on that pullback. NQ is now testing the overnight high, which was also this resistance from yesterday afternoon. The market really struggled to get above that area. And it looks like so far it's rejecting off of that area again. Not a great sign for bulls that we have such a steep move down. All right, we got a drop down on both markets below the EMA. See if we can get back above. Or maybe this will be a V-shaped reversal. Yes, attempting to get back above the 21. And if we can get a higher low up here, for sure consider that. Above the EMA on ES, we just need to see that higher low. See if it can come back here. Yeah, it's pushed up a little bit too far for me to just take a straight up higher low. At this point, I would need to see it come back and test the EMA twice. The Nasdaq is going back to the moving average here. Damien, sorry I didn't see your message. Going good. Going good. How you doing? Yeah, there was a higher low on NQ. Closed doji. I wouldn't be taking that one. If we can get one more here at the EMA, it might be worth taking a shot. And of course, we'll still consider a setup if ES can get back to the moving average. Yeah, I hear you, Damon. I hear you. Hopefully there's some good trades today. We already got one this morning. If the market keeps moving like this, we should have some more. NQ is so close to giving us a potential bar we need. Yeah, super close to making a new high, and once that happens, we'll have to pause looking for longs. NQ starting to put in a decent bar here. Considering taking this, however, did not tick below the previous bar, so that's one mark against it. So I'll actually need a higher low, so it's gotta tick below the previous bar. Come on, Nasdaq, give us that higher low. Looks like we might tick below these bars, and that would be really helpful for a long. Draw in some of those shorts. Definitely people betting that the market's going to reverse here. And then if this bar can reverse back to the upside, that's when we'll get long. I'm liking this. See if it can close well. Pretty big bar. Not liking how this is closing. Yep, gotta skip that. ES did technically make a new high. Now there could be, just looking at this price action, this could be a channel that's like this, but for now we're going to assume that the trend is done. As it had a break and a new high there. So we are more likely to correct than we are to continue. We're going to pause looking for longs for the time being on there. Nasdaq still has the possibility because this uptrend is still in play. We had this move up, break. We have not yet had a new high. We are expecting that at some point. Just need a higher low above the EMA though. Getting some lower highs and lower lows here on NQ. All right. Seller's still selling on NQ. It could be that we have 2 legs down here before we get that push up. Here's 1 leg, break. We might get a new low before we push up. If we get that, we're gonna buy with a lot of confidence in here. NQ still hasn't quite got that new low. Another possibility is that we actually go all the way down to the measured move. Which would be down here before we bounce up. Over on ES, we may be getting a higher low. I might consider taking that. If it's above the moving average. This would be assuming a larger channel on ES. That bar is a little big for me. Again, there is a potential for this ES trend to be like this, kind of looking like that. Appears it might be holding. And with the Nasdaq for sure still in a trend, that also contributes to that being the case. I still don't like that higher low though. It is a bit too big for my taste, so you're having to risk 3.75. There's only 2 points until the high, so you're having to take an inverse RR, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but that just means you have to hit those at a much higher clip. You're gonna need to hit that trade like 80% of the time to be profitable on it. This uptrend continues on ES. Nasdaq never gave an opportunity to jump in. In Q, nearing on a new high, but it's not there yet. So if we can pull back, we can still get, whoa, hey ho, drawing circles over here. Oh, we could still get a chance to enter long. Yeah, there you go, Mike. The W shape is for winning. That's right. Yes, pulling back again. We might get another chance for a trade here. This pullback is looking pretty steep. However, so did the last one. This looked pretty steep too, and we reversed, so patterns tend to repeat themselves throughout the day. If we get that pattern, we'll take it. still have not had one attempt up on this pullback yet. NQ still a distinct possibility too. It's on its pullback, so let's just watch this. This may set up for something. All right, so there's the first attempt up on ES. Got a pullback here, one move up. If we can get another pullback, that is going to be our setup. Seem to see this get above the moving average. And there it is. So now just looking for that higher low. All right, well, there's still a chance for this setup to form. Again, you'll just want to see 2 tests of that EMA there. We can reach for that new high. That's what I will be looking up for next. And I'm going to do so on the Discord. Yeah, caught a couple decent setups yesterday. Hope you'll join us this afternoon. Should be good. Decent morning. You know, we already caught this one second entry long earlier. We have this uptrend that's continuing, so could still continue to offer us some possibilities. Hope it's a great trading day for you. Thanks for hanging out. As always, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.